I told him it's a lot of money, but that's.
Yep. You're live. How are you?
I'm the time to finish enough for Twitter, right? Like to call a regular school board meeting for Oak Hill board. Are there any considerations of the agenda for additions or deletions?
Nope, we do have some public participation.
Everyone would stand face pledge to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this month we do not have student celebrations because we just got back from our Christmas break. But next month we'll have our Converse kiddos back for Student of the Month. And then, so that'll be February. March will be Sweetser. April will be Swayze. And then May, to end our year, will be our junior high and high school students. So. All right, for public participation, we have Kyle Taylor with the town of Sweetser is here with a group of individuals that he would like to share with you. Last month, if you remember, we heard from Ricardo, who was back, and he kind of explained some different exciting things happening in Sweetser as far as with wastewater and the utility side of things. And they wanted to share some information with us as to what that could look like if the Oak Hill School were to possibly join into their project. So Kyle is back this month during the public participation session because he just wants to kind of basically give us a little bit of an update as well as possibly come to a future meeting with us.
Thanks, Dr. Arden. So exciting and wastewater usually don't go together. There are some exciting things.
But that is exciting.
It is. Yeah. So we're working on lots of different projects in Sweetser for our system. And after last meeting, we just wanted to come back and show our continued, willingness to try to work through this project. I think it would be beneficial if we spent some time going through things in a little bit more detail in a public work session. The guys from RQAW came back with us tonight as well. They had some things to do in Sweetser. So we don't want to take up much of your time, but just say that we do want to kind of put a more detailed plan together with you so you can see what all we're trying to accomplish. We found some revisions that help shave off some serious dollars off of the plan. So it's a plan in motion, something that we're trying to change as we go. But building in that regionalization option for the state. State's got lots of funds that they're willing to do different things with, especially when different organizations, municipal organizations are willing to work together. So that's kind of our goal, but just wanted to give you that update. We would like to come to the public works session next month to dig into that a little bit deeper and give you a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, thanks guys.
Everybody on here wants to speak?
Anybody else? I just said,
I'll take 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was just said, Kyle said, so then we have a 5-minute limit. I said, well, actually, depending on how many of you sign up, you can each have 3. I said, they didn't know how much information they wanted to share. So I'm not sure who all signed up, but anybody else want to share anything or?
Well, so my name is Scott Clay, and I act as a client liaison for RQAW and DCCM. And so if we do kind of move forward, then I'll come in and see you guys regularly. If you have any issues or need to have additional conversations with the engineers, you can direct all that towards me.
I'm on the sign-up list, but my name's Aaron Crow. I'm our director of water wastewater. So I work with Ricardo on all the exciting water and wastewater projects. Yeah, excited to get to talk about this project with you all, and obviously the town of Sweetser has been, one of our, we're excited to continue to work with the town on it. Excited for the potential opportunity with the school as well. Thank you guys.
All right. you guys. Now that is going to be your new word as you work through this project. Excited.
Excited.
Very excited. New things. If you guys don't want to stay the whole meeting, you don't have to. If you would like to.
You think it'll be exciting?
Well, always. And if you want to catch it, we also video it now, so you could also catch it online if you want more excitement. If you can't handle the excitement as you're here and you want to relive it, you can do that. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. The claims were in your board folder for review, as well as minutes from last month. We had an executive session and a regular session for the minutes. Resignations this month, we have instructional assistant Ann Phillips resigned. Our appointments, you see there. We also had some staff members that had some adjustments to their contracts. What that means is that it could be something like, in the case of the first one, that particular individual already worked here 3 days a week. She will now work here 5 days, or work with us 5 days a week. So that's kind of what the adjustment looks like. It's like they're already working here. They just might either work a little bit more, or a little bit less, or share a position. That's kind of what's happening with the track positions there. They are sharing those positions with others, and that's what that adjustment is. Donations, Mark and Rachel Boyer, $1,184 to our FFA program. Oak Hill, we had an anonymous donor identify some, not necessarily specific students, but some students, kind of gave some specifications as to what they would like to see that money go to. And so $613.69 was donated, and then $100 to our FCA at the high school, our FCA program, from the Converse Church of Christ. We have a couple fundraisers happening, so you may see people, or maybe approaching you to buy some better braids through the music department, or our elementary readathon at Converse Elementary. Believe it or not, this fundraiser is like probably the best fundraiser, or raises the most money, other than maybe the golf scramble or the athletics.
Yeah.
But
It's
probably
incredible.
one of the most. What, 18,000?
Last year we were, I think, between 16 and 18,000.
Okay.
And it's the easiest thing. They don't have to go out and sell things. Their parents put a post on Facebook or send an email, sign up here and sponsor my child to read. And I'm telling you what, grandparents are all about that. So it is the most amazing fundraiser. When we did this, I think 3 years ago was our first time we did it. I said, I'll never do another fundraiser again. This is it. We're not selling cookie dough, which we loved, but it was too much for our little people to go out and do. We're not trying to get them to buy wrapping paper. We're encouraging reading, which is what we're all about. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
kids
when I saw that,
love
I
it.
was like,
And they either get to turn me into a human sundae or pies in the face or silly string me, whatever, and that's big fun. So.
the last thing on the consent agenda is the Oak Hill High School softball camp for grades 2 through 8.
Anybody have questions? Well, if Mrs. Wicks could get a pie in the face, I want to know when that's going to happen.
Come on over.
Share that
It
or
usually
video.
happens the Friday right before spring break, or that
Okay.
last day right before spring break. We kind of do all the culmination piece to that then, and the kids get all excited about it. We have the top money raisers, the top readers. We have all kinds of different prizes that happen. So it might be lunch with me or throw something at me or, you know.
I think for every $1,000 she raises, like every board member shares for the
Come on, let's go.
That could be our March board.
I love it. Let's do it.
And we'll live stream.
Yes.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second. All those in favor, right hand? Count today.
On to new business. There are school board conflict of interest forms that you guys received tonight. I believe Aaron and Andy. Okay. So those will please return those back to Chris. Once you have completed them and looks like right now. So we're good there. Next on the agenda is the, to approve the contract agreement with First Tuesday Communications for consulting services. So Steve Klink with First Tuesday is who we'd be working with for consulting services.
Any questions? No, need a motion? Second. All in favor? 5-0.
Next on the agenda is to approve the contract service agreement with Michael Mock, a certified water operator. So Michael has been our wastewater management director, the certified operator. He is stepping back from that role since Troy has become certified. He will consult with Troy still, but he has now become, Ryan Smith was our water operator. He has resigned, he resigned last month. And so now Michael Mock is also certified as a certified water operator. So he will be our new person for Sweetser and for our Oak Hill High School and UMass.
Questions? I'd just like to thank Mr. Smith. Some of us at this table have known him for a long time, and he used to sit at this table for a while too. So thanks, Brian, for his.
Relay that to him.
So moved. Second. All in favor? 5-0.
All right, the next on the agenda is to approve Troy Pond as our certified wastewater operator at Oak Hill Wastewater Plant.
Motion. So moved. Second. 5-0.
All right, letter E is to approve the discontinuance of investment in recording services with Corbridge/Valid for the 401A and 403B plans ending January 2026. So we will be moving to a new platform. We have discontinued, or we have let Corbridge/Valid know that we will no longer be investing with them. And that ends at the end of this month.
Questions? So moved.
Letter F is to approve the adoption of the VOIA. Oh, sorry.
Second.
Sorry.
All those in favor? 5-0.
Got a little excited there.
Done with them.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, it's a process. You don't think it's gonna be, something like this is gonna be a process until you kind of start down the path, and it's like, wow, this is a little more than what I anticipated. But obviously, it's a big,
Big stuff.
it is. It's something very big. It's our investment. And it actually was brought to us by our teachers wanting to look at something different because we had Corbridge/Valid since about 2003, and we haven't looked at any other investment platforms since that time. And so a lot has changed since that time in that world. And so now, letter F, we will approve the adoption of the FOIA plan agreements for our 401A, 403B plans, and this will start for us in February of 2026. We had a committee of teachers as well as our business office that looked at a lot of different options for investing, and we ended on Voya for a couple different reasons. We will actually use the Prudential Financial Consultants as our kind of liaisons for the plan. And Voya is also the same platform that we use for our teacher retirement, our IMPERS, our teacher and our retirement. So that we are hoping kind of streamlines for our staff, and their fees were much lower. We'll be actually switching from an annuity platform to a mutual fund platform, which didn't exist back in when we first started. So that is part of the reason for the fee change. But then there's some more flexibility there with taking out your money and different things like that with the mutual fund platform. So that's what Voya, the new Voya thing.
Any questions on that?
Please pass along. Thank you to the teachers
Oh,
and
yeah.
staff for all the
Well,
for spearheading that whole work they do with it.
I will tell you, the two teachers that were on our committee, they can definitely have a future in financial consulting. They know so much about this. It was interesting. I learned a lot.
Mr. President, I knew that we had moved to Goya as our financial investment advisors.
Second. All those in favor, right hand? 5-0.
All right, letter G, approve the ING quote for property liability, automobile, cyber, and workers' comp insurance for 2026. This was a little bit of a process too, always. Like get to my page. And it always, it comes down to one of the last days. I don't know if you guys experienced that with the town of Sweetser as well, but kind of comes down to the very last day when we're kind of finalizing everything. So we have the only change, well, there's two changes from last year. And one is our property will move from Chubb. You can see our comparison. Our property will move from Chubb to Liberty Mutual, and our workers' comp will move from Eastern Alliance to IPEP, so the Indiana Public. So that is the only change. Our premium does go down $20,000, but what many of the people here tonight don't know is 2 years ago, this was about it was about $250. Last year it went up to, or 2 years ago, it went up after we experienced the water break at Sweetser and the tornado at Swayze that took out our gym. We were dropped from our insurance company at that time. So we started 2024 with a new insurance company, Chubb, and our rates, our premium increased $50,000 for property. And then last year, we had no claims. We continued with the same company and it went up another, so we were at, what was that? Another 40,000. So we're 90, last year we were about 90,000 more than we were 2 years before with no claims other than the weather claims we had the 2 years prior. So this has been a little bit of a process for us. But this year it does go down 20,000. So that's a, hey, I'll take whatever.
Any questions? No, need a motion.
So,
Second. Second. All those in favor, right hand? 5-0.
All right, to approve, the last thing on the agenda item is to approve the submission of the teacher eligible report to receive funds in April of 2026 for the teacher appreciation grant. So what that means is this year, our state decided to make some changes to the teacher appreciation grant. They made it a more competitive grant. In previous years, we were given a lump sum of money and we were able to divide it evenly. Well, I shouldn't say evenly. We were able to divide it up amongst 25% more of the total lump sum would go to our highly effective teachers, and then the rest would go to our affected teachers. So we were able to give out about 100 teacher appreciation grants a year in the past. They changed that, the state changed that and no longer allows us to do it that way, and it had to be an application process this year. They created 3 different tiers for our teacher appreciation grant. The first tier is a $3,500 tier. Second is $5,000 and tier 3 is $7,500. So as you can see there, we had 57 teachers that were eligible to apply. 37 applications were received. We received 27 at tier 1, 9 at tier 2, and 1 for tier 3. Our administrative committee reviewed the applications to make sure whatever tier they applied for, that they had documentation to support that. And then something we chose to do here that every school's kind of could do it a little bit differently. It was our first time doing it, so we decided that if more people applied, because we had a total of $55,909 that we could disperse for this grant. or that's what the allotted amount that we were told we would have. So if you do the math on that, just at tier one, we could only give out 16. Even though the state said we could give out 24, that's the max we could give out, but financially, we didn't receive enough money to do that. So with the three different tiers, basically, we were able to give 7 to 16 actual grants. How ours, we put the applications then into a randomization software. And then it just, as each one came up, we would subtract that from the 55,000, subtract. So we were actually able to award 14 grants, 10 at tier one and 4 at tier two. And then no tier three applications were selected. So we have a remaining balance right now of $909. When we got to that 55,000, we stopped because in the lottery, we still had tier 1, 2, and 3. So if a tier 3 grant would have been pulled, then the school would have had to make up the difference of that. So we felt like it was probably safer for us to, not that we didn't want to contribute to that, but 7,400 would have been a lot, than 900, or 6,400 would have been much more than what we were planning to pay out for that. So, like I said, 14. So what this basically agenda item allows me to do is I put these 14 this information, I include their documentation with it to support the grant or support whatever tier they apply for. I submit that. I have to submit it by January 30th to the DOE. So this allows me to basically submit those 14 individuals for receipt of the teacher appreciation grant. And then we will get that money in April of 2026 with a required to be paid out by June 30th.
How many did we pay out last year before they switched it on us?
100
Or was it 100?
at least.
So they took us from 100 down to no more than 24.
No more than 24, but if they gave us money to realistically, even at the first tier, pay 16.
Well, you guys did a great job, and this is just one more example of legislature pitting teachers against each other. It's despicable. I know teachers who didn't apply for it because they didn't want to bother competing with other teachers. This breaks my heart.
It is,
You know,
yeah.
the state's not letting us love teachers and appreciate teachers.
I'd rather give 100 people $400.
100%.
Because that was about what
Yeah.
they were about $400 in the past.
No, this does nothing but force teachers to compete against each other. Anyways.
So that is what is meant by that.
Any comments or questions? If not, we need a motion.
So,
Second. All in favor? Five votes.
All right, just a report of the superintendent, just some things I want to share is our robotics program received a $7,000 grant from the Don Wood Foundation. Just to give you a little history on that. We don't have a robotics advisor this year, so I've been working with a couple parents for the program, so they have been instrumental. Nanette Horner has really taken the lead for our high school robotics program, and Andrew Hale has taken the lead for our junior high program. So they alerted me to this possible grant opportunity. They provided me with some information of what they would like to use the funds for. And so I applied and we were awarded it. We should actually receive the money this month. So we can get some supplies and do some different things for robotics. So I want to thank them for all the help. As a parent, it's to step up and to do something like that's hard anyway. And I know those are both very busy individuals. So I appreciate that the robotics teams practice a lot here, at least 2 to 3 times a week or 2 to 3 hours a day. So, and when it gets closer to competitions, that's even more. So the last thing in my report is we are currently in an audit with the State Board of Accounts. And it started about December 10th, and they had shared that we should be wrapping up around February 26th. So Chris has been basically really busy getting them information that they need. It's kind of a full-time thing, but so far it's gone well. I feel like they've worked with us really well. With the transition from a previous CFO to a new CFO, obviously, searching for and finding the needed information is sometimes hard. So Chris has done a great job doing that, but they've been real accommodating and understanding with that and giving us a little more time. So that is all for the regular portion of our meeting.
Second. All those in favor, right hand. Five up. Meeting adjourned, 6:17.
All right, and then our next, our Board of Finance meeting, which is a meeting we're required to have.
If anybody wants to leave.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, that'll start at 7, so you have about 4 minutes if you need to take a break. Yep.
Just email you.
Oh, yeah.
She's a student of hers, Amy does communication. She wrote a book that Amy hasn't had a chance to read it yet. She said it's about a giraffe who was born with no spots. And so he's different, and how do you fit in with your different? It's geared towards kids and all of that. So,
Good, man. How are you?
Well, we
All right.
tried.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
perfect, work perfect.
Oh, yeah. There, everybody.
I got you. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
It's early. That's why I don't think she's
I live in the school board stuff. So.
Just like a teacher. All her kids.
Good, how are you?
Probably love to have you. She goes, well, we just built a house. I was telling her husband, I said, I told her I can't. Sure. She says, well, you know. Yeah, they're.
To the restroom.
Chris, hey, just Aaron. Have a good night, guys.
You too, thank you.
Well, I just wanted to invite you. Every game started as I always run right now. Now it's not.
Yeah, that's where I was. We went to the first, JV and varsity.
He was good to be at baseball.
And the boys were having.
And I told him, I said, well.
JV struggled a little, that's okay, they'll develop, but man, first.
History, or, and then especially when George was, we didn't do that at all, and I said.
It's fun to
That's
watch them
what
play,
we
it's
did.
in the door. In fact, I'm sitting inside, so basketball was always expensive. Yeah, basketball and football, but we go watch a lot of football games too.
All right, have fun.
Thanks for your time today, everybody. Thanks, Mr. Hardman.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Yes.
See
Okay,
you.
I will
Take
try
care,
to do
y'all.
one of
Good
those.
night.
We are still live, so.
Call the Board of Finance meeting. there's no public participation for this one.
No, nobody here for this?
I'll move on to the election of the 2026 officers.
All right, so what we've done in the past, and we don't have to continue it that way, but what we've done in the past is kind of aligned it with our school board. So these would be the election of the basically Board of Finance Committee officers. So we need a nomination for president.
Can we blanket that since we're just gonna do the same?
If you choose to do that, if that's how you, that's what we've done in the past.
Then I think that at that point, the motion becomes moving to, you've announced that you stand now, correct? Or do we just?
Can we just go through it since it's on the agenda that way? Can we just say president, can you start with president?
I was just trying to save 2 minutes.
I know. Nomination for president?
Nominator, Hickory.
Sorry. Trying to get out of that one. That's okay.
All right, we have a nomination for Aaron Pickering and a second. Anything, any other discussion? All right, congratulations, Mr. Pickering. You are the president of our Board of Finance Committee as well. So, on to the nomination for secretary.
Nominate Andy. Second.
We have a nomination and a second. Any other discussion or anything?
I'm sorry, who was the second time?
I heard that.
Justin.
All right, so a nomination and a second. Any other discussion or anything? All right, congratulations, Ms. Warner. You are the secretary for the Board of Finance. I know. All right, so the first agenda items, which says number 4, which would really be number 1. There, I'm sure why there's 4 pages there. Probably did it somehow. Would be to review the summary of investments. So let me get into something over here. Did you have that?
I did this,
It's on this one, right? That's this one.
yes, it's actually on the last 2 slides.
Okay.
This is what the investment section is. Okay, so, in the past, you've been presented, the whole breakdown of past history of all of the interest earned. And I decided it was best, since there's so many years there, to summarize that. And so I have laid all that out on that particular slide. The link there is for our board policy on investment, and so that is there. It is also in the attachments on the board folder. And looking at calendar year 2025 though, this is the exact information that would have been broken down over the several years of history. Decided just to focus on this year. And so in looking at that, at First Farmers, that's where the majority of our money is housed. And so the corporation balance is there. That's why you see higher earned interest on those accounts. If you scroll down a little bit, our cafeteria fund was at Grant County State Bank. January through October. However, we then shifted that account over to First Farmers. So because there's not a large amount in those accounts, the interest is pretty small. I did actually meet with First Farmers representatives just a couple weeks ago and just kind of touch base to make sure we do have our funds in the account that's going to draw the most interest, and they reminded me that we did. And then the bond proceeds have to be tracked separately, which we do reconcile that separately. And in the cash flow, I'll talk about that a little bit later. I have decided to separate that out on the cash flow and the operations portion as well. That was deposited in operations, and so that's the interest directly related to those bond proceeds. So that's our interest for 25. Going back to the beginning of this, so. This slide really is just kind of letting you know what Indiana code is and what the requirements are for this Board of Finance. The requirement is that you must use the fiscal and qualitative indicators that DUAC presents. And so while all of the graphs and so forth are out, I can't take any credit. DUAC puts those and publishes those. So This review of information is for calendar year 2024, so I want to point that out. That is what you have just presented. I did find a correction as well, so I'll point that out when we get to those slides. But on Friday, they notified us that there was a calculation error on 2 of the slides, and so this morning, if you looked at this presentation prior, I did have to update those 2 slides, but I'll point those out when we get there. Yep. Okay. All right, so just basic information from NUAB. ADM count 2425 is 1505.6. Our net sales value at 472 and estimated population at 7,132. On the first slide back, if you guys are interested, you're more than welcome to click on that link and it will take you directly to these graphs and you can highlight over different bars and it's pretty neat as what it pulls up. So let me pull that out and skip that. Then
Here's the link here at the bottom of the first slide.
Average daily membership, just a simple bar graph of our history clear back to 2015. Continue to climb, but that's not new information. We haven't really reviewed pretty heavily last year. So.
The IHSAA, you guys noticed that the high school information, like the attendance, or the ADM of high schools, basically, or ADM counts at the high schools. A reclassification came out recently, and what we kind of noticed is most rural schools, almost all rural schools, declined, and then the increase is going to kind of those larger schools, around cities. Connell's at like about 5,200.
Yeah.
What? At the high school? 5,200. I know, it's not crazy. I was like, wow. Yeah, I couldn't even, like, wow. But anyway, so that is pretty common across Indiana.
This additional note is not off the NUAB website. It's just additional notes. I sometimes feel like those photographs are kind of hard to really zone in and see. And so this just kind of points out to you that since the 21-22 school year, we've lost 745 students. And so when you kind of look at the transfer students, that accounts for about 30%, which is actually that's a decrease from 24-25. We're more at 22%, so down 12% on transfer students. Fund balances, breaking down for us 2015. Again, studying decline on those as well. Our declining enrollment is directly tied to our education fund, the significant utility costs and so forth on the operations fund. And just a reminder that in 2019 is when the funding started developing the education fund, the operations fund, and not the central fund.
And that really tall blue bar, that is capital fund. So just a reminder, that would be our 2024 bond that we took out for $2.775 million. That's what that means.
This next slide is where there was a calculation error, and so I updated that since it was posted last week. So what I had noticed in comparing those, when you looked at the 2023 section, they did not have the expenditures plus exceptions quite high enough. Or actually, I'm sorry, they came a little lower.
Oh, they're a little lower.
Let's-
So this is,
Can I share this with you?
is this supposed to be lower or higher? The bars, I mean,
It is actually
up a little bit.
high.
Yeah.
Okay. in your email. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so the only change that was noted from their calculations that were incorrect is the 2023 and 2024, the expenditure plus exceptions bars came up. And so this was prior to the change. You can see my pink arrows here. They came up closer with the revenue is the changes of those calculations made on this graph.
When you say plus exceptions, what do you mean by that?
So So your exceptions would be your transfers, anything that you're taking out of the pot. So basically, it's comparing your revenue and expenditures here, minus the offsets. This was the other slide that there were changes to. So the two revisions, initially 2021 said 19.4, it changed to 19.3. In 2024 had said 11.9, it's now 12.1. So not significant things there, but basically an 8.3% fund balance is equal to 1 month of expenditures is considered the absolute minimum for financial health. 20% balance or 2.5 months of expenditures is healthy and desirable target. DUAB recommends including calculating an acceptable fund balance using education operations, operating referendums, and rainy day funds. Okay, indicator revenue by type. And so these are different costs of revenue coming in. It is used to identify any trends or anomalies in revenue and to identify excess dependence. So we are primarily dependent on state revenue and support, and that hasn't been changed to any information from concerning.
Well, the debt revenue obviously has increased because our debt has increased the last couple of years with those two bonds. So then the revenue from that, like what she just shared with you on the interest and that sort of thing, that's increased a little bit. The stimulus, that's, like we have that no more, so that's still at that level.
So they would have closed.
At the 24. Yeah, so that would be last year for that. But you'll see that with the
Still working on how school runs coming down, closing us out, doing
we make a payment, it's like. All right, next on
The next slide is really just kind of a false slide because we will, it presents information for an operating referendum, which you've not had, so there's no information. That is it on all the slides they require that we review.
Board of Finance meeting.
Before we get to that, I'm sure I got
I'm
all
trying
that.
to jump ahead.
All right, we, next on the agenda was to review the investment policy, which that is included on the, in the board folder, and then we get on the presentation. Financial condition of the school, and discussion.
Second.
Second.
Candy was the first. All those in favor, right hand? 5-0. 7-16.